Hey everybody, it's Johan Heiden, and I'm back with a strategy discussion for the Italian versus Heiden campaign. It's December 22nd, 1941. This is going to be the turn 16? Turn 16. I think it is. Let me check. Yeah, turn 16. That's what we're talking about now. So by the time you're watching this, it's going to be about 3 weeks from now. And we'll probably have moved on from the campaign. The nice thing about this campaign for me is that me and Italian have a really good pace going. It's about a turn a day, sometimes 2 turns. Like today, we got it done. So that means that I can run a delay on YouTube. And when I run a delay, I can talk about a lot more stuff that I normally wouldn't want to, just in case there was an OPSEC concern. So, a lot of stuff happened in this last turn, and I kind of want to go into more depth, and even the last video did, about a lot of stuff. So I want to talk about like moves in China, moves in Burma, what the plan is for Singapore and Malaya, Dutch East Indies for sure, and then finally maybe we can talk about the impending raid by Kido Butai on Australia. So real quick, before we do that, let me give you a forecast of what's coming down reinforcement wise for the next 30 days. So let's take a look at aircraft squadron replacement stuff. So we're not getting any more aircraft until 17 days from now. Actually, probably sooner than that. So the Shoho should be coming in around the 31st of December, and it's going to bring some Kates and some Claudes. The way I typically run my mini KB, if you will, is I run it fully fighter heavy. I don't put any strike aircraft on there because I want to have an impregnable wall of cap with this floating Death Star of fighters wherever I go. It's worked for me in the past, and I just don't see me wanting to do something different with it. So I typically leave the strike planes behind, or I put them on land bases to do something else, and I just run fighters. So I'll probably expand this squadron to the full size of the Shoho and put the Kates in training somewhere else. Got some Vals, more Kates coming in, more Vals, as if I need more training capacity. We have so much right now. This is going to be another parachute regiment coming in with this raiding Sentai. And really nothing else of note that I see here that's worthwhile. Except maybe this Betty squadron, but that's not going to be for 50 days. So short term, we're not getting anything that I really need. What I really need more than anything else are fighter squadrons. And I'm not getting any of those aside from the Shoho 1. Okay, ground reinforcement schedule. That's looking a little bit healthier. So in 5 days, we're getting 5 to 8 days, we're getting some more Naval Guard units. This unit here, the 28th Mountain Gun, is going to complete the 28th Division, which is part of the Kwantung Army. I'll need to buy that out with political points to move it into China. I have all the other pieces of it sitting, waiting to go, but I need that last piece to build it up. Okay, we're going to get a couple other base forces here, which are great. We need those. Independent Guards Regiment. I think this is a Scenario 1.5 specific Scenario 2 thing. That's always good to have. I can always use a big regiment like that. I'll put that on a really important base somewhere that I don't want to lose it. Another SNLF fragments coming in. Another base force. Actually, 2 base forces there. An amphibious brigade, which I believe might be part of a division that's building up later on. If not, great. I will use it for something else. These independent SNLF companies are great for garrison duty. Okay, we got another AA unit and more of these independent SNLF companies. And another Naval Guard. So all this stuff I can use, guys. I need everything I can get. Now for ships, I want to show you Tracker because it does a better job of showing that stuff than the game does. So this is our prospectus for shipbuilding in the next 30 days. So it's the 22nd now. So essentially from up here to here is what we're going to get. So AMC, a subtender, a new Kagero class destroyer, which is great. The Shoho, which should be here by the 31st. A couple more sub-chasers, a couple tankers, an AO, another destroyer, which is a Yugamo class, which are pretty decent. And that's basically it. So the most important things I see here are 2 destroyers and 1 light carrier. The rest of the stuff is great, but it's not that great. All right. So let's talk about the situation in China a little bit more, because I want to spend a few more minutes kind of running through my ideas. So right now we have a tank army basically moving up this Anking Road. And the intention for me here is to get to Anking and stop him from getting here. And I'm going to use the armor to blast the hole in the defenses and fill it in with infantry from here later on. And we're just going to hold here for a bit. If I can get up here and secure these crossroads, that would be great, but I don't know if we can get there before he does. I may also drop paratroopers on this base the turn before my armor engages this stack here, so that he has to retreat somewhere else. I'm hoping he'll go this way, or he'll go this way, but not up the road. So if I take this base, it may deflect the direction these guys retreat in when they do retreat. So I'll probably have to use paratroopers to do that. Also, we have armor and infantry moving up the Xi'an Road this way. Now, this one's going to be a little more difficult because the numbers I'm seeing in front of me are pretty substantial. 98,000 troops there, 70,000 troops there, 31,000 troops here. There's probably at least 2,000 plus AV on this road here. And that's not great because I only have 700, 1,400, 1,800, about 1,800 here, plus maybe another 1,000 I can peel off from here. So let's call it 3,000 AV that I can send up this road. But with the stacking limits, I can only get 40,000 stacking levels in these hexes. And that's going to really limit how much I can engage here. Now, the good thing for him is that he can also only get 40,000 in here. On a troop by troop basis, my troops are better than his. So we have more firepower, that sort of thing. But it's still going to slow us down. And I'm going to have to rotate divisions when they get blasted trying to engage on this ×3 terrain all the way up to Xi'an. The saving grace is that I have a pretty strong push going this way into Xi'an. And once you get into these hexes here, it's basically clear terrain. And we can go fast and we can bomb the crap out of him. And he really can't stop us moving in this direction. So he's going to have to decide at some point, do I defend here or do I fall back? Because Xi'an is clear terrain, right? Which means it's ×1, which means he gets no modifier to his AV. And I can put a lot of troops in here and we can win here and I can bomb it. I can do a lot of stuff to win Xi'an. So he has to decide, am I going to get flanked this way or do I hold this way? He can't do everything. So if he wants to hold on this road, then my troops will flank and shock attack here and we'll take him out this way. If he wants to fall back this way, my troops move up quicker and get into Xi'an into the clear terrain faster. So this is kind of like a gambit for the Chinese. How do you defend this, or do you even bother? Do you just fall back? You can do that too, but I'll be interested to see how these stacking limits really work here, because this is going to be the first big test of them as I go up these roads with these 40,000 stacking levels. How's that going to hurt me going up the road? I really don't know yet. But we're going to get into Xi'an here by early January. I'm confident of that. All right. Moving a bit further south. Okay. This is what I've been thinking about here. I've got almost 2,100 AV sitting in Aichang. What I really want to do is open up a front and cross this way and try to threaten Changsha from the north to force him to pull back a bit. The problem is he left all these Chinese units here, and there's probably at least 2,500 AV or so of Chinese troops that are able to move into Aichang if I vacate it. So I have to kind of thread the needle here and determine how much force am I going to need to cross this river and take it without getting cut off, or have him come into Aichang and take it from me when I reduce my garrison. The nice thing about Aichang is that it's on clear terrain, which means if he does come in here, we can bomb the ever-living snot out of his troops and make them combat ineffective. But still, I need to leave something behind to defend it from this force and being here. The reason I haven't moved on Chang Tae already is these guys have not moved. Typically, the allied player will send them this way to Chungking. These guys usually go this way, and these guys would usually go up the Anking Road, but he's not doing that. So the good thing for me here is that it allows me to go up the Anking Road very quickly without these troops getting into combat and blocking the road for me. But it also means I have to maintain a sizable force here just to protect it from these guys coming in. I Chang is an important base for me. I always value it because it puts Chungking way within range and basically puts all of the Chungking plane. I know there's a proper name for this. I don't care. It's China. It puts all this well within the range of Sally bombers. So, and I can also hit up to Lanchow or close to it. Let me see. That might be a bit much, but I can get at least to Kungchong from Aichang once I get that base built up. So I don't like to give it up to the Chinese early on. I like to hold it and build it because it's what I use to power project for the rest of China, or most of China. So there you go. I took this base here because I want to apply some pressure on the south part of Changsha. From here, I can continue moving this way or whatever. I can build this base up. I'm already building forts here. But the main idea here is I'm going to hold because I'm waiting to break through at Chusian. So I've got about 1,000 AV here, but he's also bringing in more troops. So this is going to be kind of a slog. Once we break through, though... Pretend nothing happened there. It was, my music started playing ads. It's not great. Anyway, I'm trying to break through at Chusian, but he's bringing a lot of troops in here too. So this is going to be a slog. But once we do, this force can start moving up to here and join up with this one, and then we can start a flanking maneuver into Changsha. I'm also working on Kukong down here. I've got a division here, a regiment here, and I think that's enough to take Kukong, and then we can continue joining up with these forces here and cut this rail line here, which is going to make it harder for these bases to survive. And we can try to flank Changsha from this direction. So that's what I'm trying to do, guys, like a multi-prong attack here. If that all makes sense. I'm trying to hit Changsha from two directions because coming at it frontally is not an option because this base has a lot of troops in it. It's good terrain for him, and it's very difficult to take from a frontal assault. So we have to be creative and use maneuver, and that's my intention there. Over here, I do want to break through and get moving on to Nanning. My problem here is that I don't quite have enough juice out of these units to do it. I need some bombers to assist, but the bombers that I'm trying to get going are still in the process of building up here. So I need a few more days. I may have to relocate another unit from Hankow down to here to assist to bomb these guys so we can start moving on Nanning. So I'm just trying to hit them from multiple directions. This way, and this way. Because with the stacking limits, I just can't go frontal assault on everything like I used to. So that's the China situation. Hope you like that. Okay, Burma is a little more straightforward. I'm about to cross this waterway here, go into this hex next turn with my tank regiment. I doubt these troops will still be here. They're probably retreating as we speak, and they'll probably get into Pegu before I get there, but that's fine. From what I can tell, he has not evacuated Rangoon at all, so there's a lot of troops here that are going to get potentially cut off. And I see an opportunity here to push these guys in a bad direction. So I'm kind of thinking about taking these 4 bases here before we take Rangoon, which is going to channel him essentially up this road here towards Magway. And that is... that's jungle. Maybe that's not going to work. Maybe I don't want to do that. I don't know. I was hoping I could cut these guys off and surround them and kill them, but I don't think that's going to work. And at any moment, he could just evacuate these guys and go up to Lashio, which would actually be bad for me. because this base is always a pain to take, but you need it because it's the back door into China. But I'd love to just track these guys here, so I may actually do some paratrooper operations here to block the rail lines. Like, I really need to take Toungoo because that's his only real rail line out of Burma. If we take this base here, he can't rail out, which means we can just beat him up along these roads and take all the strength out of these units. I honestly think it's a bad idea to defend Rangoon because you're just not going to defend it from 1,000 AV of Japanese troops. And this unit is better when it has time to build up and fortify further on. So I hope he stays down here, but I doubt it. I'm sure he'll move out. All right, so Malaya is looking a lot better. I kind of briefly discussed it on the last turn replay, how I engineered these troops being surrendered and stuff, but this is actually working out fine. We trapped a lot of Allied AV up here. He was just not fast enough to get stuff into Singapore. A lot of stuff got stuck. I'm estimating at least 600 AV of troops is trapped behind the lines up here, and there's no way for them to get into Singapore at this point. I've already got a regiment here blocking this, so there's no way to rail out. They can't move south. All he can do is get on these rail lines and be a nuisance, and I don't really care about that. That's not a big deal to me. All right, so what's happening now is we are moving with my armor towards Johor Bahru, which is the last base before you go to Singapore. I have everything else in strat mode, right? And basically, as I take a base, we leapfrog to the next base. So everything stays in strat mode until we get to basically Johor. So everything's going to get down here, strat mode, go into combat mode, and that's the point where I'll start rebuilding these divisions, right? Oh, maybe not that one. Maybe not that one. Let me find another example. Okay, 18th Division, for example, right? Everything but the recon regiment is at Kuala Lumpur. So this division just needs to get on the same area as this recon regiment, and then I can rebuild 18th Division for the crossing, okay? I also have, I believe it's... Where's the other division? Nope. I think it's 5th Division. Okay. Most all of this stuff is at Kuala Lumpur as well. And then it's going to rail and meet me in Johor and reform. So that's 2 full divisions right there. I got 2 additional armor regiments that are going to engage. And if you take a look at this, the 16th Division and the 2nd Division, which were previously at... they're previously at Clark Field. I've evacuated them. I moved them here to Mersing. So they're currently moving to here and into here. So that's 2 more divisions. That's 4 divisions now that are ready to go into Singapore. But wait, there's more. I have the 38th Division right here, which is coming in from Hong Kong. That will land next turn at Mersing. And on top of that, the 21st Division, which was previously at Wenchao, is also coming in. And these guys will make 6 divisions. So I'll be hitting Singapore with 6 divisions all said and done. I probably won't cross with 6 because this one's going to hold me back. It's going to take, let's see, 3 more days, 3 or 4 more days just to get to Mersing. Then it's going to take 4 days or more to get to Johor Bahru. Then it's got to cross. So we're looking at about like 8 or 9 days before the 21st Division can get into the fight, whereas these guys can get in there a lot sooner. Yeah, but Singapore, we'll take that. It's going to be, it's probably take us about a week to take it, maybe 2. And then from there, the intention, I believe, is to either head up towards India with these divisions, or send a couple down to Java and just take that out real quick. I haven't decided yet. So that's the thing with this campaign. I'm keeping my options open. I'm not fully committed to anything. I could go into India, Australia. I could go anywhere. And I haven't decided yet. So we're just going to wait and see. Let me hit Singapore. Let me see how that looks. And I'll make a decision. It's still early in the campaign. I could go any direction and be fine. Okay, so Philippines. I've had to do a little bit of a change of plans here, guys. So once I realized that this Clark thing was not going to be really doable, because I could not bring all 6 divisions in here at once. I just could not do it. So I've abandoned that. And as you can see, I've pulled out 4 divisions of the 6 out of the Philippines right now. So here's what we do have going on. I've got Manila building up. I've got a lot of aviation support here with more on the way. Building up the airfield. So this is going to be our primary base for bombing all of Clark and Bataan. And we're just going to keep it damaged. So look right there. Airfield damage 100. Clark Field is basically shut down. So if he wants to cap trap me, he's going to have to do it from Bataan, which only has the air capacity of 1. And for some reason, he's not building it up. I don't know why. I would, but no, actually, no, I wouldn't. It makes no difference. No, why would you build it up? Because all you're going to do is give me points, and it's going to take supply, and that's what he has to preserve here. He doesn't have supply to build these things, so no, don't build the airfield there. But that does limit how many aircraft he can fly out of here for a cap trap, and they'd have to long-range cap me, essentially. But here's my longer-term plan. If you look here, I'm bringing in a couple RF gun battalions from Hong Kong, and these are going to help defend against any potential counterattack by the Allies at Clark. So he's got 2 armored regiments there that have stewards, and these RF gun battalions are more than capable of shooting up those stewards and taking them out. I'm also bringing in all the heavy artillery from Hong Kong to continue the siege warfare, because the goal here is to go down to 1 division. I don't want to keep 2 here, especially the 48th and the 3030s are some of my best ones. I don't want them here. But I have to keep enough force here that if he shock attacks me or counterattacks me, we can withstand that. And I'm pretty sure 1 division with some armor and some RF gun battalions and some other miscellaneous units should be able to hold against even the Allies shock attacking with their 1000 AV here. Because now we get the terrain modifier if he does. I also don't want to leave these 2 divisions, so what I'll probably do is when I have the political points to do it, I'll buy out one of the 50s here in here in the home islands and ship it in here and exchange it for one of these good divisions or both, and go down to 1 division with a lot of artillery and some anti-tank guns to defend against the counterattack if he elects to do that. And every day we're going to bombard, or let him bombard us, and we're going to hit the airfield and just sap the supplies out of here. Siege warfare type stuff. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, guys. Let's talk about the Dutch East Indies. So I actually had this plan for quite a while, guys. I'm really happy that it's gone the way it has so far. So I captured Ternate, and I grabbed this base, and as I explained, we're coming in from the south here, because when I close this hex site into Monado, he can't retreat. So when I attack with this tank regiment, which is very powerful, by the way, we should be able to just kill these troops and then neutralize that base. Then I quickly pick up this unit and move it back to wherever we're going. So here at Kindari, I've landed more than enough forces to take this place. So the 65th Brigade will be on deliberate. The 2nd Tank Brigade Regiment will be in pursuit mode, and they're going to go after these guys. If they leave the hex, I'll have the armor going in behind them to affect the retreat or affect their continued, make sure that we follow them if they retreat and kill them off. And what I like about Kindari is this is a great base because it has a... I had to switch to music. Guy kept hitting me with ads. That's not cool. Anyway, Kindari is a really good base because it has a decent sized port and it has an air capacity of 4 right out the gate, which gives us a lot of options for aircraft. And from Kindari, we can control the entire Dutch East Indies. We can get Balikpapan, Tarakan, Surabaya, Timor, Ambon, It just has a range with the Japanese aircraft having the range that they do to basically hit everything. I can get search planes, torpedo planes, fighters, recon, everything in here. And this is a great base, and he just let me get in here. I don't know if he had any way of stopping it. I don't know where Force C is at. I have been operating under the assumption that Force C is hanging out in Java somewhere because, you know, why not? Keep it to repulse an invasion later on. That's what I would do. I don't know if he sent it off or not, but because I assumed that Force Z might be here, I came in really heavy. So I have the Nagato, the Fuso, 4 heavy cruisers. This is the amphib that brought some of the stuff. I have stuff to rearm ships. I have extra fuel in this task force. This one is my fighter cover. So this is the Hosho that currently has this squadron on there. Some good pilots, some not. But either way, this is enough fighter cover for now to protect us from any initial counterattacks by his stuff. Or any bombers coming in. So I got indigenous fighter cover there. And then I have more that I can fly in here next turn when I take this base. And from here, I can decide where to go. I'm leaning heading towards Timor. But I also want to take down Ambon. And I also want to take down Makassar. So I don't even know where I want to go. But Kendari is the key, in my opinion, to the whole Dutch East Indies down here. It just is centrally located and allows you to control everything and attack from there and base out of there. So I'm glad I got Kendari. And he let me do it. And if he wants to come at me and start a naval engagement, I would love it. Because I have plenty of ships here to handle it. And I have more on the way. I got more destroyers, torpedo boats, another light cruiser coming in. And then this task force up here actually has a heavy cruiser in there as well. So they're going to come down this way. And I'll probably peel off... Actually, you know what? Why am I being secretive about this? You're going to see this 3 weeks after the fact. This task force has the 56th Division in its entirety, with some more naval surface forces. These guys, I'm probably going to use for Darwin. So they're coming in here right now. I'm being so coy. Why am I being coy? They're going to come in this way to Darwin or to Kendari, and probably I'll use them to take Darwin out. One division should be enough on this clear terrain. And there you go. So yeah, 56th Division is heading down to this location here. All right. I don't really have to go over this again, but I explained my plan here to neutralize all these bases without having to chase troops around the map. So watch the previous turn video if you want to see my plan here. I don't really want to talk about it right now. It's not that big a deal. This is a side project. The last thing I want to talk about here is Kido Butai's attack coming up here. So the next turn you watch after this video will be Kido Butai hopefully hitting Sydney. So what I've got it going to is this hex right here. I'll put a marker on it. So that's where we're going to go. All right, this hex is 5 hexes from Sydney, 6 from Port Kembla, and 3 from Newcastle. These are very resource-rich bases that we can use to farm strat points. So how strat points work in this game is when you hit any kind of industrial targets in Australia or the United States, you get strat points. I guess Homeland Japan as well, but, you know, that's me. So every industry you see there is worth 2 points. So if I look at the light industry and the heavy industry, that's 200 points there if we destroy all of them or disable them. We don't have to even destroy them. If you disable them through bombardments or airstrikes, you get 2 points. There's probably about 8,000 strat points or more in Australia, and I want all of them because that's a lot of points to add to your tally. And if you do want to attack Australia, and you don't want to cross this line, so the Brizzy line here, basically, if you go across this line south, you trigger emergency reinforcements for the Allies, and it gives them a lot of good stuff. And I really don't want to do that right now. So you can take everything in Australia north of this line, every single base north of, on the same line as Brizzy or higher. So that means the only thing that the Allies will have left is this area down here. Well, hold on. I can do better. This would be all the Allies have left in Australia if you take everything else and you don't cross that line. Now, if we are successful in blockading these ports here, which I think we can do, I'm just saying theoretically. I'm not saying I'm actually going into Australia. I don't even know. I'm just talking in theoretics. If I take Perth and everything else and we trap all the Allied Australian forces here in this little area of Australia, and we're able to blockade them from getting fuel and supply in, the only thing they have to build up supply is whatever industry exists down here. But if I bomb it all, if I take all the resources out, if I take all the industry out through bombing and all that stuff, that basically renders the Allies completely incapable of supplying themselves. And that's huge. And then, at that point, if you elect to go ahead and break the line and go on to Australia, you could essentially start engaging these troops here and they'll be out of supply because you've bombed everything that can give them supply. So the key here is the resources, right? You don't have to target the rest. The rest of it gives you points, but what really starves the Australians is hitting resources, because the light industry and the heavy industry require resources to operate. The heavy industry needs fuel too. Not worried about that. But they need resources. If you bomb the resources, the industry stops. Right? Once they use it up, you don't get it back. And that's how you can starve them out. So that's a two-pronged thing. One, you get the points for it. And two, you starve them out. So if you do want to cross the line, you don't have as hard of a time conquering the rest of Australia. I don't know if I'm going to do that this campaign. I still may go into India or somewhere else. I'm just talking about, I'm just kind of spitballing ideas. But long term, to do this strategy here, it's not feasible to use Kido Butai for all that, because there's a lot of targets deep inside Australia that Kido Butai can't hit. So long term, you would want to take Brisbane or some other base and use your land-based bombers to hit these bases deep inside of Australia, to take out the resources there. Kido Butai is only good for hitting the coastline and stuff and keeping him tied down for a bit. And this is a short-term endeavor as well. Kido Butai can't stay here for 3 months and do this, right? We have other places we got to go. If I do want to go to India, I would need to take Kido Butai and send it up there. So I can't sit here and just plink away for 3 months with Kido Butai. If I wanted to do a long-term interdiction here, I would need to take bases in Australia and use land-based air to do that. And again, I have not decided. But here's how we're going to target this. Again, getting back to the topic at hand. We're going to start off with firebombing of Sydney. And how you do that is you take your aircraft, right? For example, my torpedo bombers. You're going to give them a city attack order. You find a base that's within range, which is Sydney, and then you target manpower, okay? Manpower starts what's called firestorms and well, not firestorms, it starts fires. And these fires burn essentially all of the industry in the hex. And it's kind of random what it does burn, but if you hit manpower repeatedly, it increases the size of the fires burning in the city. And every turn, those will slowly burn down the various industrial sites in the hex. So if you can stoke the flames by hitting manpower several turns, you can extract a lot of points out of Australia that way. But so the bigger the manpower concentration, the bigger the fires will be. So Sydney has the biggest manpower concentration of all of the bases in Australia. Melbourne has 26. Brisbane only has 9. So for these bases, it's probably a little better to target the actual industry themselves. But for Sydney, because it has a big manpower concentration, hitting that will spread fires and burn down all the industry. And particularly useful is taking out these repair shipyards, right? If you can hit the shipyards in Melbourne and Sydney and Brizzy, they basically cannot send any ships here for repair. They have to ship them out somewhere farther away. And if they want to rebuild the shipyard, they have to spend supply, which if you're doing a starvation of Australia, they really can't afford. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see how many points we can get out of Australia. My record is 2,000 on one sitting before I had to move on. So Kido Butai, when I was playing against Helson, we ended up getting 2,000 plus strat points before we had to leave. I was pretty happy with that. We'll see what we can do in this one. All right, guys, I've been talking for 30 minutes, but I hope you enjoyed this deep dive. I'm really enjoying these strategy discussion videos because this campaign is going pretty good for me, and I'm really happy with it. Like, I'm glad that I'm playing Italian. I know he's inexperienced, so we're seeing him make mistakes, right? And I know I understand the game mechanics better than he does, but he is making some good moves, right? The carrier attack, although he didn't press the advantage very hard, he could have stayed longer and done more damage. This was good. It really put me in a bind for a bit. This AMC thing didn't work out for him, but I liked the idea. I think he should have used different ships, and it doesn't mean that he can't try it again, because now he knows exactly what we got here. He knows we've got light cruisers and destroyers, so he may bring in heavy cruisers next time. He may bring in his carriers, and that's a big concern for me. So now I'm going to be like kind of paranoid about NORPAC for a while, and I'm going to have to divert more resources up here to protect it. So just that act of him sending in those AMCs here has got me all panicky and got me reacting to it. So I know he lost the ships, but now I'm having to change my way of thinking and prioritize this area more than I normally would have. And that takes stuff away from other fronts. So that's smart. That's a smart move for him to do that stuff. I really like it. I mean, he's inexperienced, but he has some good ideas, and I like that. I also like the fact that he didn't just run and hide in China, right? He stayed to fight here. He's holding me down here, and he had this whole Hankow rail line blocked until turn 15. I just barely got this freed up a turn or two ago. Most allied players just run for the hills, and I had to put a lot of AV into this that normally should have been going up the Anking Road sooner. So I feel about a week behind because I had to marshal enough troops into Xinjiang to take him out here, and that slowed me down. So again, that's smart. Now, it remains to be seen how smart it is. Now, him using all these troops up and down here when they could have been defending further up might have been a mistake, but hey, it slowed me down, and that's the key to beating Japan, is slowing them down. So, say what you will about him. He's made mistakes, but who doesn't? I mean, let me show you a couple mistakes right now. This was a mistake. That sucked. Oh, and this was a huge mistake. That sucked. So I make mistakes too. No one's above it. So don't talk too much trash about him. He's young and inexperienced, but he has good ideas. And it's going to be a long campaign. And the fact that I'm doing well now means I'll have the longevity to get into 1943, into 1944 maybe, and show you guys what this campaign looks like when you get that far. Because I've never seen it, and I'll bet you most of you guys have not either. So Italian was actually a great choice for us. I think he's got the perseverance to withstand the losses that I'm going to inflict. He's got some good ideas, and he'll keep this campaign solvent long enough for us to see the late war. Even if I get the auto victory, I'll call it a win. I'll add it to my victory thing, but we're going to keep playing on no matter what. And Italian's the guy that's going to get us there. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. Next turn, let's burn Australia to the ground. Wait. Fire. Catch you on the next one.